Dragon legends are the most common monster stories on our planet. A terrible, monstrous reptile has found its place in the folklore of almost all peoples of the world. At the same time, judging by some literary and musical works, this creature was perceived more as a real monster than as a character in myths. When one analyzes the history of the dragon in the folklore or written sources of some cultures, the question immediately arises, why are dragons everywhere so similar? Did dragons really fly over the earth? They devour the unfortunate villagers, while demanding the sacrifice of young girls and instilling terror in every heart. And is it true that only a brave knight could stop them? Today, no one says that there were many dinosaurs, but even a handful of these prehistoric reptiles that lived in remote lakes and wooded valleys could not go unnoticed even in sparsely populated Europe, 1500 BC. Having met at least one of these monsters, one could be so frightened that legends and fairy tales gush like a river. Also, ancient legends often describe dragons as huge snakes, similar to pythons, reaching a length of more than 15 meters. Many stories about dragons that have come down to us from the Middle Ages tell how these creatures slaughter their prey and slowly pour it in, which is fully consistent with the behavior of a python or boa constrictor. But these theories don't explain why dragons could walk on all fours. Some species of giant lizard would probably fit the description of a dragon and would satisfy many theorists. One of them is known as the emotions of the crow, which often exceeds 3.5 meters in length. But he lives in East India. St. George the Victorious and other dragon slayers would take a long time on a dangerous journey to the tropics. Probably, the battle with the dragon itself would have been much less of a test than such a campaign. Although if there were still such a species of lizards in Europe that survived to the appearance of man, this would be the answer to the mystery of the origin of dragon myths. Another theory, and a highly plausible one, is that a medieval adventurer accidentally discovered a cave filled with the bones of a giant cave bear and mistook them for the skeletal remains of a dragon. Just imagine, if the peasants were digging, the well would find the bones of something big in the ground and Zubitov and his countrymen would immediately decide that this is the grave of a dragon. Well, where are the remains of one? There may well be another living dragon somewhere nearby. The villagers must have been immediately confused with the question of how to get rid of a huge beast so that it does not fly in and devour them all to one. And that requires sacrifice. The peasants naturally chose the young beauty. It is difficult to imagine all the horror that the girl experienced when wolves or bears attacked her at night. And the next day the most daring village peasants went to the forest. The way it is. Blood and remains. The dragon came and ate the girl. A month has passed. It turned out that the victim worked in the village. The monster did not appear, did not hunt local residents. So the flesh of the girl created him. If they continue to make sacrifices from time to time, the dragon will leave them alone. Why took her to a dark forest and tied her to a tree, hoping in this way to appease the dragon? It is possible that in Europe such bones, be it a mammoth, a rhinoceros or a giant cave bear, were not considered something unusual. Mammoth tusks, for example, are very common in medieval recipes for the elixir of love. On the market square of the Austrian city of Klagenfurt, there is a statue of a giant slaying a dragon. The head of this monster, apparently, was sung in the form of the skull of the Sumatran rhinoceros. Evidence of this connection is the fact that ancient manuscripts mention a dragon's skull found in Klagenfurt in the 19th century. All these years the skull was under the protection of the city authorities, and today it can be easily identified as the skeleton of the head of an Ice Age rhinoceros. Although who knows? Maybe they really existed. Maybe many of the dinosaur remains were somehow not well identified. I don't think we'll ever know for sure. Thank you for watching. Write in the comments if you liked the video. Subscribe to the channel and like this video. There are many more interesting videos on the channel.